what I'm going to do is next 10, 15 minutes talk about broad trends on what we see. Some could be provocative, broad trends on what's happening around AI adoption in largely tech companies. Yeah, so these are 20 companies we've been tracking. If your company name is not there, apologies. Right, and it's just amazing how much profits these companies make. In the last 5 years, over $2 trillion in profits. If you look at the technology wave, the last 2 or 3 waves, the incumbent companies were not making so much money, and the incumbent companies were not winning. Right. So in this scenario, it's very different. A lot of the incumbent companies, actually, the founder is continue to run these companies. But just in R&D spend, the last few years, the companies have spent over $1.6 trillion. Right. It's just unbelievable numbers, and we have never seen such type of spend in any technology across whatever the number of waves we had. And it's just not the large companies, right? And you look at startups, we track, and these are more application agentic AI startups, we track these startups. Another interesting change is only 55% of the company we are tracking, the top 800 agentic AI startups, are actually from the US. So right now in this wave, the companies are spread across the world from all, different, from India, from Europe and other parts simultaneously, coming together. And interestingly, companies in this, what we track, 50% of the companies are over 5 years old. I don't know, 5 years ago, we didn't even have the word agentic. So they all changed the term to agentic AI now, and then, running these companies. So it's very interesting how rapidly startups are getting into this area. And the stack is sort of getting complex, right? Right now, you have this whole agent layer, and I was talking to one of our largest retail customer. So now they're creating so many agents from so many different companies. They're creating a registry of agents so that they can track these agents. There are companies which are coming in just for agent orchestration. Similarly, there is already a whole lot of companies coming in the model orchestration layer. So the overall stack is getting complex, and also the traditional companies, be it low-code, no-code companies, right? You have Appian, you have UiPath, and other companies are moving into agent building layers, or Pega or ServiceNow. So a lot of traditional companies are morphing themselves to fit into this overall stack. And also we are seeing it's not just the enterprise AI. The whole lot of work is happening in the physical AI side as well. And that's why we have the data intelligence operational tech layer, where you have sensors and SCADA systems and so on. That is becoming one of our industrial customers. They said they have 20 million points they have enabled just in the last 1 year, right? And then it's all kind of getting connected, and then they're going to, once they get connected and integrated, the same process as enterprise AI, but there's a whole lot of work which is happening in this area. So this is just the initial view. This whole slide is going to get a lot more complicated as we go through this over the next few years. And so recently we launched this tool called Ether. So what Ether is from a spin-off from Zinnov, a company called Drop. It's a startup. It's a data intelligence platform. So one of the what Ether does is it takes a job description, look at what is the level of jobs which can be assisted by AI, what could be completely automated by AI. And I had the team apply that against the enterprise software, like product and software teams. And you can see this very interesting that up to 80 to 90% of work could be completely automated or could be assisted with AI, right? Only about 8-10% of the work, which largely around judgment and communication, right? Which is what human is required. A lot of the work is going to be assisted by AI or completely automated by AI. So it's just a massive, massive shift. And we ran this survey, and that is just data analytics based, right? We use the AI model to analyze what is possible. But here, what we did is we ran a survey across, CTOs, and try to understand what is the AI usage across the SDLC process, and how do they see it changing in the next 2 years. And you can see that in 2024, approximately there were about 50% of adoption across the value chain, and that is almost doubling in the next 2 years, right? And significant, but there is this interesting dilemma. When you talk to CEOs of companies, and the CEOs say, hey, Microsoft just came and sold me GitHub. They promised me 200% productivity. And you go and talk to engineering heads, And you push them, maybe I'm getting 10%. How do you measure? Oh, I don't know how to measure. So you get this mixed answer between what the board is looking to achieve from this adoption, but what the individual CTOs kind of have that. And it'd be great to have more conversation around this topic as we go forward. So one of the interesting things has happened, right? So one way we think about this is all of this is happening. So software engineering is going to get commoditized. So that's one way of thinking. We don't need a lot of engineers. But on the other side, the salary for software engineers in the top 0.001% is becoming as high as Hollywood and sports stars. Go to the next slide, please. So what we did is we took the top 10 sports salaries, top 10 Hollywood salaries, and top 10 engineers, which is known information, right? What Facebook put together and Google has put out and so on. If you're not getting the salary, don't be jealous. And the numbers are astonishing, right? You look at in athletes, some of the top are making tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars. But software engineer, these are non-founder software engineers, right? So these are not founders. These are non-founder software engineers making in tens and millions of dollars. So in one level, salary is going up significantly in the top 0.001%, almost like starts. And the other side, there is next slide, please. Other slide, you see a level of commoditization happening. Right? So, and what we think could potentially happen as any technology wave, when the cost of technology had gone down, the adoption had dramatically gone up. Similarly, in terms of software engineering, as software engineering cost of application, I wouldn't say software engineering, cost of application goes down, the number of applications could dramatically increase over the next few years. And we've seen, if you map this against telecom costs, per minute cost, and you see a very similar kind of trend, right? And the same trend could potentially play out in software as well. And it could have like two kinds of implication. And this is just the initial hypothesis, right? If you take enterprise IT, today enterprise IT has a whole bunch of SaaS applications. And when they're coming into renewal process, one thing they could do is they can convert an existing legacy SaaS company to an AI native SaaS company, or they could choose to build something new compared to buying something as well, right? So you could, because buying applications is going to be much cheaper, you could buy these applications rather than building applications. So there could potentially be a disruption if you're building a SaaS company. So this is one way this could play out, right? So SaaS companies is the existential threat. But it could also play out the other way, right? If you take in the first one is a Uber Waymo difference, like Uber has drivers it has to pay for. If you're in terms of Waymo, they don't have to pay the driver. So they capture most of the value, crude way. That is the agent model. The similar thing could happen, if you take IT services, ITSM, you have IT vendors providing these IT support, be it Accenture, be it DXC and others. But ServiceNow could potentially use agents to take care of the resolution as well, right? In this scenario, the value is now captured by the software company. Similarly, if you are building coding co-pilots like GitHub, and you still need engineers, but in the future, if these coding agents are going to replace actual engineers, the value is going to be captured by the AI companies. So one way, there is a disruption for the SaaS companies because customers can choose to build. But another way, there's a huge opportunity because now the SaaS company can replace the labor which is using your tools, right? So that's another kind of interesting trend, we see happening. And this trend is not just in the US, right? You see MIT put together a study about over 90% of the enterprises are using some kind of AI. And we ran this survey in India among the companies which have their own engineering centers in India. The large global companies have engineering centers. It's called GCC in India. And we ran this survey along with one of our partner, ProHands. We are launching this white paper. We saw that the AI adoption is fairly large across. Right? Some of them are piloting, some of them are starting to scale. So this whole AI adoption is universal. The time it takes for technology to move from the US to other location used to be much longer. But now it's almost happening, simultaneously in real time, right? Very similar adoption anywhere in the world. So that's very interesting, the big change which is happening. So what are the implications of this level of adoption? And we are starting to see this interesting trend where an Indian enterprise SaaS company and a global company almost starting to look similar. I explained this slide, right? So if you take an enterprise SaaS company like a Freshworks, started in Chennai, build the product completely out of Chennai, right? Now they went IPO in the US, traded in NASDAQ. Now the CEO sits in the US, the product head sits in the US, customer success sits in the US, the engineering and product management, corporate functions is based in India. For a mid-market private equity-owned company, we are starting to see similar trend where the CEO is here. In a couple of our customers, CTO is actually in India, right? The product customer success team is in India, professional services team is in India. So you're starting to see similar kind of. So you don't know which is a global, which is the headquarter, which is your offshore location. Every company, both, right, which just started out of India, becoming similar looking compared to a company started out in Silicon Valley. So this trend is a interesting trend, and it's just starting off. We have a few examples. We don't have a lot of examples like this. We have a few examples, but over a period of time, this could become pervasive. So if you could potentially do a lot of your CTOs here, you could do your role from anywhere in the world, right? So you don't have to be in a specific location. Your teams are anywhere distributed. So it's really about the leadership, what do you prefer? And some of you already do. I was talking to Krishna. Krishna said, "Hey, I spend 3 months in India anyway right now." so you could potentially spend time from both locations. So what does it take? Our last slide. What does it take to do this? There's so much changing on a daily basis. Key is to be balanced. Every day you open up, there's a new model come in. How do you adopt it? It's so much pressure from the top, from the board, asking questions every day. Hey, what is the impact? What is the ROI of all the money you guys have spent on AI? So it's this whole, how do you stay balanced? And there is an innovative dilemma. Hey, some of the adoption is going to disrupt the existing products and services, or how to be okay in this disruption. So that's the second big area. Communicating clearly. A lot of time we assume that what you're thinking the team knows. Many times they don't know what you're thinking. So communicating clearly, effectively, continuously is going to be very, very critical. And we don't see leaders often do that. And partner, a lot of times, you might not have capability to do all of what is happening. So how do you partner with companies who have expertise in this area? Be startup. That's why we have some interesting startups today to showcase their capabilities and increase the sense of urgency among your team and ensure that the team stays very curious so that you're able to adopt into a lot of these technology. So that was my initial, just our initial point of view. Thank you, everyone.